make a new page, and end. What I want to do first is we are going to work on the 3D effect. So type any simple word. Then I want to put a stroke on it, so I'm going to create outlines. So create outlines or Command Shift O. And then I think I'll put a red stroke on there. Let me make it a little bit thicker. Okay, you're going to love this. You're just going to love it. 3D, Extrude and Bevel. Now this window will pop up. If you click on Preview, it will show you what it's doing while you're making the changes in the window, which is great. One of the things I love about this is you can really grab a hold of this and watch what's happening. I'm controlling it. It's changing based on what my position is here. You can even override that and put in your own positions. You can change the width of this. See how the distance shortens? You can say 100. It's really, really long, and this is going to come in handy shortly. You can even change the edge of it. This works better on simple shapes, but nevertheless, that's kind of a cool thing. I'll go back to none. And then there's various shading effects that you can do to this as well. Play with this, go through your lesson book, and you'll be able to tell some of the cool effects with this. So this is what you can do for type. You want to do a special effect on type. Say OK. Then I can say, well, I don't like that color inside. I want it to be gray. You can easily do that. You can go through each one. Or you can say, I wanted a gradient inside each letter. And you can still treat that as though it was just straight vector with no extruding. So this is kind of cool. You think is brilliant. So I can say, well, I decided that I don't like the angle this is at. Don't go back up to effects or 3D and then try to do another one. What you're going to want, oops, I got to select it. If you go up here and try to do it again, it's going to say, oh. Do you want to apply another effect on top of this one? Which you can do if you know what you're doing, but I don't recommend that at this point. What I would say is go to Appearance and click on this through the Extrude and Revolve. And then it reopens, and then you can reapply an effect. Okay? Which is really neat. Okay? So that's how you do it with type. Okay? So let's keep going. Let us make a bowl. Show your rulers. I'm going to pull out my guide from my rulers, something we've already done, so I'm not saying anything new to you. I don't want to fill at this point. I just want to pick a color, maybe a blue. I'm going to show you how to make a bowl. My halfway point. I am going to make sure I have rounded corners, and I'm going to go up to like 5 point. 5 point, rounded edge, straight line. Now if I go to 3D Revolve, you're going to love this. Preview. You have an instant bowl. Isn't that neat? And again, you can say, if it's going to wrap all the way around, obviously your angle needs to be at 360, so it loops all the way around, 360 degrees. There's no offset, and I have it off the left edge. If I were to say the right edge, look what it looks like. Because it's going off the right edge versus the left edge, and the left edge is my axis point. So isn't that cool? Say, OK. You can click on More Options, and you can change your hot spot on here. If you want the highlight to look a little different, and I can say OK. Now, say you've got some fancy bowl and you want maybe green inside of your fancy bowl, you can. And now I have green inside. You can even take your pointer or your direct select tool and change the shape of your bowl after you've made it. You can say, I didn't like that shape. I want to change the size of it. You can do everything right there on the spot. Just like you would regular vector art, but again, under preview, Command Y, all it is this, right? That's all there is for lines. That's it. That's so simple. So, but say you want to change the way that is floating, you have to go back to Appearance, 3D Revolve, in Preview, come on, and then move it around here. And I can say, okay. And it will render. Isn't that cool? Cool, cool, cool. I just had to show you that. I'm going to make a red dot. So I'm going to take my ellipse. I'm going to click on the desktop and say 1.25. So just 0.25. So it's going to be 1/4 inch. Make sure that your measurements set up here for inches and not picos in your preferences. Otherwise, this won't work. So you're going to select this. Go to 3D. Revolve. Preview. Okay, it looks like a little fat donut, right? Because I'm doing 360, but I'm going to change my offset to 100. Look what I get. Isn't this cool? So again, if I want to move it around, I go to Appearance, Preview, and I can move this all over the place. Is that cool? Okay, want to see something cooler? I just click the desktop and it remembers what it was before. I say, okay. And you can say Command C and copy this and put it in the clipboard, or you can just keep making more dots. So we're going to use a lot of dots here. Okay, so here's a dot. Go under Effects, 3D, Revolve. Now, this is important that you get this right. So the first one we're going to do is -20, 0, 8, 180, offset 100. I should do Preview. And Preview. Oh, this one here is supposed to be 8. Okay? And say OK. So now we've got half a circle. Now make a new dot either by clicking on the desktop and saying OK, or I Command C, I copied it. Now I have this one. Go back to Effects, 3D, Revolve again. But now we're going to put in -20, 0, 16, perspective is 0, 180, offset 100, and we're going to go to the right. You might say, well, these don't line up. You're right, they don't. And they don't for a reason. Watch what I'm doing. I'm lining them up here. Oh, come on. There we go. Now, I'm going to take these. I'm going to say Group, Command G, or Objects Group. Learn your keyboard shortcuts. There might be a quiz on this. Command C, Command G, now Command C, or I can hit down my Option Shift on a Mac and drag them. I want to send them to the back. Keyboard shortcut with Command Shift, left bracket, or Object Arrange, send to back. Learn your keyboard shortcuts. I'm going to line up these. You see what I'm doing? I'm going to grab these, I'm doing the claw, I'm dragging, sending to the back, lining them up. Making a spring, can you see it? Send to the back. Now we've made a spring. And if you look under your preview mode, there's only circles on here. Isn't that neat? So, and if you want to see outline mode, just do it here. Now, remember, make sure you're not running Photoshop or even your mail software program. Don't run anything else when you're working in 3D and Illustrator because it can crash your system or freeze it up, lose what you're working on. So we did a bunch of really cool stuff. Let me just show you a box. And you do effects, and you do extrude and bevel, right? Which is really neat. And you might say, well, what am I going to use that for? Well, you could be doing product design where you're going to map on an image, and I showed everybody how to do that. In fact, I'll probably show you guys as well. Let me place something in here to show you. So as an example, I mean, because you can put a drop shadow on this, and then you can map the image onto here, so you can do a whole bunch of stuff. So you could literally get this effect in Illustrator. So that's kind of what we're working on now. Okay, so this is kind of cool. We are going to make a soda can. We'll draw half a soda can. So whatever you would think that looks like. Let's say this is what I say my soda can looks like. I'm going to preview. Now, what do you think I did wrong? Or I haven't set it up yet. It's pivoting off the left side, right? I don't want that. My actual access point is in the middle of the can. So I want to pivot it right. Now look what it looks like. Isn't that neat? And I can say, oh, make it turn up a little bit more. I don't like that. Let me change this color to this one. There we go. And let me change that one. So I can pull down my bottom here. If I wanted to change the shape of this. So you can see more of the bottom of the can. I can come up here and say maybe their top lip doesn't look quite the way I want it to. That all has to do with shape. Watch how this changes now. Totally takes on a different look. Say the top of your can you want to look like it's open. You can always do something that looks like this. And I can put a gradient in it, except it's going the wrong way. I want this to be like that, and I want this one to be like this. So it kind of looks like the opening of the can, but that probably needs to be a little bit darker or lighter, but that's okay. So now we've got somewhat the shape of the can. Now, here's the big thing. Place in that file I sent you. Okay, here's the deal. We need to make a symbol of this. You cannot do it from a JPEG image, it won't work. Okay, so we want to make a symbol. So what you need to do is you need to make it vector art. So I'm going to do live trace, and I'm going to do high fidelity. So it's in color. Okay, but now I need to expand it, remember? Now, this is vector art. So I'm going to grab it. I'm going to drop it into this window. And you can see it's highlighted right here. I'm going to say 7-up, graphic. Not a movie clip. It's a graphic. Say OK. Now you can see it's in my window. Remember, we've done this now. This isn't anything new. But what is new is I'm selecting my can. I'm going to go to Appearance. I'm going to say 3D Revolve. You're going to love this. Show Preview. say, now map, or map art. Now, I have, what it says is there's 23 surfaces. Now watch what happens to my illustration here as I go through. So this highlighted piece says that section here and there. I'm going to walk through each one. Now it says, it's highlighting, see where this red line is here? It's highlighting that surface. So what I want to try to find is a surface to put on this graphic. So typically out of like 23 surfaces, it's probably going to be surface number 22 or 21. I think it's maybe 22. Let's try this. Now I go to my symbol. There is my 7-Up graphic. I'm going to apply it. I'm going to click Scale to Fit. And watch what happens. It's on the can. It's a complete wrap. And you can say, okay, but now don't panic because you're going to say, well, it's not where I want it to be. Now I can move it around. And it does move some, but then it's not going to be a complete wrap. See how it's going to show gray? Right? Can you see here? It shows gray. I don't want it to show gray. So I'm going to move it back over here. Fill this whole area with this. See, because you can still see gray, so I'm moving it back over. And I'm going to say, okay, now I can go here, and I can turn this around. And fill these all with zeros. Taking forever to render here. So anyway, that would be your 7-Up can.